Hey guys, I'm here today. Kicked off Star Wars Celebration. We've already reacted to two major trailers that came out of the event this morning. And that is the Ahsoka trailer and a new trailer for Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny. If you haven't seen those reactions, go check those out. I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. You know, there's a lot of stuff that was kind of announced and shown behind closed doors, which I won't really be diving into. I'll really only be touching upon the things that were made publicly available and expand upon some of them, give you guys my thoughts on how it's transpiring, what we've learned today, because there's a lot to kind of parse through. Not as much as you might imagine, but there is some tidbits that are really interesting that I really wanted to share with you guys. I wasn't sure if I was going to make one of these videos when I did the Ahsoka reaction, but as I started to learn and read more, it's just like I kind of wanted to talk about some of the stuff. Now, a lot of it's pretty exciting, so I want to go ahead and get into it. Now, feel free in the comments to talk about the leaks and the stuff like that, but I'm not going to be propagating any of that. Again, the only things I'm going to talk about are things that have been made public, things that were meant to be made public, and stuff like that. So if you guys want to talk about any of the leak trailers, any of the stuff from that, feel free. Just again, if you want to go down to the comments, I'm sure people are going to be bringing some of that stuff up. I'm aware of pretty much all of them already at this point, but again, I don't want to be the part of the spread, part of the viral outbreak of these things. They didn't intend to be out in the wild. The big thing I want to get into is that they've announced 3 new live action films, one helmed by James Mangold, one helmed by Dave Filoni himself, and another helmed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. Each one of them is going to be set within a different time period within the Star Wars timeline. So it keeps them a little more fresh, a little more isolated to play around in their own sandboxes. And I'm really excited. You know, no news on, the Rogue Squadron movie or Taika's movie or anything like that, or the Rian Johnson trilogy. None of that right now. But we got these films. And again, it's because of those reasons right there that I'm like, oh, these are really cool. I feel like the only one that I know for a fact will probably happen is Dave's. But like with Star Wars, with the track record over at Lucasfilm, they've had a habit of announcing things and then never following through on them. So that out of the way, let's kind of go through each one of these. So I want to start off talking with James Mangold's. So I'm bouncing around a little bit of order. Like if you're looking at this article yourself, I'm not necessarily following the order that is posted because I think that's just a better way to go about it. But starting off with it's going to be set during the dawn of the Jedi, the dawn of the Force. And it's going to be set in the deep past, pre-Old Republic, way back when the Force is really discovered and the first Jedi learned to wield the Force. He goes on to say, when I first started talking to Kathy about doing one of these pictures, what occurred to me was thinking about what kind of a genre movie within Star Wars I wanted to do. I thought about a biblical epic, like a 10 Commandments, about the dawning of the Force. Where did the Force come from? When did we discover it? And when did we learn how to use it? So yes, I like that idea. And it, again, a lot of this was kind of explored within Legends, within the expanded universe in a lot of different ways. And I know they've been kind of tapping into some elements of that, and I'm very curious to see if they keep any of that, bring any of that over, or what they do to establish this and define it as its own thing. I'm really interested. I love stuff like that dives into the mechanics of the world. Like, will we learn a little bit more about Mortis, or will they just ignore that altogether? I'm very intrigued by that concept, and I love when we do Star Wars films with a genre spin, because I think that's one way to keep Star Wars fresh, because you don't have to keep telling same types of stories. You can tell many different kinds of stories within the Star Wars sphere. So the next one I want to talk about is Dave. Dave's film is going to be live action, and it's going to be basically the culmination of everything we've been seeing within the Disney Plus shows so far. You know, from The Bad Batch to The Mandalorian to Ahsoka to The Book of Boba Fett, this is what everything has been culminating towards. Now, we've had this announced before. They said it would be an event of some kind. They never really specified what kind of event, whether it be an event series, whether it be a special, whether it be a film, what have you. But now we have that confirmation. Dave Filoni is going to be helming a live-action film that is going to conclude all of the current threads that they have set up in their little pocket of the Star Wars galaxy within the New Republic era. I can only imagine with everything that's going on right now, it's going to have to do with Thrawn, Ahsoka, obviously, maybe the world between worlds in some way, shape, or form, because we see elements of that in the trailer for that series, and possibly the reclamation of Mandalore, the uniting of these people to take their home world back. Because I've been saying for a while, I think that Thrawn, and by extension Gideon, have had secrets and held back secrets about the truth of Mandalore for some purpose. I think there is something going on there that we have not uncovered just yet, or I don't know. But I think that's going to be evolved, or the fact that we're building up towards the reclamation of Mandalore in the Mandalorian Season 3 currently, that will then pay off because we'll have an army, essentially a group of combat-ready people are ready to challenge Thrawn once he reveals himself. So either they'll be reestablished and set into a seat of power, united with the criminal underworld of Boba Fett, and then, of course, Ahsoka and the Rebel Squad, we'll have a pretty formidable force to push back. And who knows? It's been hinted at that possibly even Luke could join the fray to help stave this off, which would be pretty sweet. Finally, I want to talk about Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's film. This is going to be an interesting one. It is going to be one that is definitely going to be divisive just right out of the gate, just by the nature of the beast. But I'm kind of excited for it. For somebody who wasn't all that thrilled with how the sequels turned out, we will be jumping ahead 15 years after the events of Episode 9, with Daisy Ridley returning as Rey Skywalker, who is starting to build a brand new Jedi Order as a current Jedi Master. Regardless of how you feel about it, at the end of the day, there were so many great elements within these films, but there was also a lot of not so great stuff. So I'm hoping that this could, while Dave Filoni's working on the back end to kind of clean up a lot of the lore stuff as we build up into this era, I'm hoping that this, in a way, gives a positive spin and a positive return for Daisy Ridley, because I did think she did a really good job, even though maybe the behind-the-scenes stuff didn't really help her out in the long run, much like with John Boyega and, I was going to say Poe Dameron, but that's not the actor, Oscar Isaac. They were fantastic. They were great picks. They were great performers. They gave their all for these roles. It's just, as we've known, as they've admitted up until this point, they didn't really have a plan. They didn't know what was going on. They changed things from movie to movie. Again, that is not up for debate. That is, confirmed by the people that have made these films. And again, I know bringing that up, there's always going to be somebody saying, well, George also, there was inconsistencies there. He didn't have a plan through the entire thing. But it was a singular vision and singular voice in that case. And you could tell throughout the sequel trilogy that there was competing voices. And it's been expressed as much. There was no one idea on what the sequel trilogy was supposed to be. No one really kind of decided that. And again, that's no fault to the actors, to the performers, to the people, and they didn't deserve any of the hate that they got. It just needed to be better managed, and there's a lot of that came out to light in Bob Iger's book and stuff like that as well. And I know plenty of people liked it as it was, and all the power to you. I'm so happy for you guys, because all you guys, I'm sure you are just, there's no baggage on this going into this for you all with this, other than the people who might, berate you for that enjoyment, which I never condone or agree with. People have different opinions and all that, and I don't ever mean to express mine in a way that makes people feel dumb. I mean, I'm sure I do by accident sometimes, because I think sometimes when you get passionate about something, it's inevitable that somebody that doesn't necessarily align with you is going to kind of take that away whenever you talk about something that they're very passionate about, just on the opposite end. But, as many problems that I had with the sequel trilogy and stuff like that, I know plenty of people enjoyed it as it was, even though it was a little rocky, even though it may have been inconsistent, or there may have been behind-the-scenes problems. At the end of the day, if you enjoyed it, that's great. That's awesome. And I'm sure going into this, you're just going to be nothing but excited. And I am. I'm excited to see what they can do with this, because anytime we get more stuff, it's a chance to learn off of where we came from before, and there's always an open opportunity to, bring some people back into the fold. And that's what I really want to happen with this, because I love these actors. I loved the concept of a lot of these characters, if not the execution. And I would hope by this point that John Boyega is back in this film, and I know he's been very vocal about staying away from franchises after his experience with Star Wars. But man, it would be awesome if this opened up with him as a fully fledged Jedi Knight. I know he'd miss out on that journey, but like, you know, they set that up. So like, let's see that, or at least hear about that in there. I think this could be fun. No idea as far as what the threat or the antagonist of the film is going to be. But I'm intrigued. I'm curious. This is something I would have loved to have seen with Luke built up, and rather than just absolutely destroyed. We could have built up to the destruction of it, but I would have loved to see Luke's attempt. I'm very excited and happy for Daisy to come back. I hope this time around it's a little bit more of a positive experience, and we'll see where it goes. Next thing I wanted to kind of touch upon is this little graphic they released here. Now, it's a little difficult to see. I'm going to try to blow it up for you guys there a little bit. We got a brand new look at the entire Star Wars timeline of what these different ages and eras are now called, to kind of map out where and when. So there's kind of like a etymology behind when and where and how we're talking about where certain films are going to be taking place. So James Mangold, as he said, kicks off, is set way back in the Dawn of the Jedi on the far end of the spectrum over here. And again, kind of calling out to the temple on Ahch-To, we see that symbol that was etched in the meditation space where Luke was training Rey. And from there, we spawn into the Old Republic, the High Republic, the Fall of the Jedi, Reign of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, the New Republic, Rise of the First Order, and the New Jedi Order. So yeah, we actually have like a full time frame of this whole thing, like spiel, what we're calling these things. Again, I'm still holding out for hope that we'll get an Old Republic thing one of these days. I know they paused production on the remake of KOTOR, which still irritates the crap out of me. We need a Revan movie. That's all I'm saying. We need a Revan movie. Of course, we got a trailer for Ahsoka. We already talked about that. We covered that. We reacted to that. If you want my thoughts on that, go check out that video. Following that, we got a little presentation from the Skeleton Crew. We got Jude Law out there, as well as some of the kids that are stars and leading in this film, or in the series. And they showed off some footage for it, but again, that's not public, so I won't be diving into any of that. But they have talked a little bit about the production. You know, of course, we got Jude Law as a Jedi Master in this, who is kind of like the mentor or the guardian of these kids who have just kind of been cast out from the galaxy. It's set during the New Republic era. You know, we got Ravi Cobbett-Conyers, we got Kariana Krater, and Robert Timothy Smith as the cast, as the principal cast within this. This is from Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. And we got, as far as confirmed directors, because it's already finished filming, directors for this is pretty stellar. We got the Daniels from Everything Everywhere All at Once. We got David Lowery from The Green Knight, Jake Schreier, Bryce Dallas Howard, Lee Isaac Chung, and John Watts, who is also, I didn't know this bit. He serves as an executive producer and writer alongside Chris Ford. John Watts is a writer and producer on this. That's a nice little tidbit I didn't know. The audience was further treated to the first trailer for the series, footage described by the Empire magazine as Stand By Me meets The Goonies, meets Star Wars. Well, I've seen Goonies. Reactions on the channel. Finally watched that movie for the first time within the last year. I still have not actually seen Stand By Me, though, so I'll need to watch that if we're getting some like vibes of this bit. So yeah, I'm pretty curious about this. For some reason, I thought this was set after Episode 9. Up until recently, I think I had that revelation made during a live stream a few weeks ago. I don't know why, up until this point, I thought it was set after Episode 9 this entire time. But anyway, moving on. We got a couple of first looks at the Acolyte. I won't be playing this video. It's really just a little round table between the actors, kind of just talking about what it's like to work on the film. But they did get a first look of the series, and from what I've heard, it looks pretty solid. It's a thriller set during the High Republic, the tail end of the High Republic as it transitions into the prequel era series that we know. And it follows the bad guys. Our primary focal point is through a Sith and the emergence of that, or at least a dark side user. Maybe not a Sith directly, but we'll be seeing that the dark side creep into this. This is the furthest back in live action that we've been. No, we got Leslie Headland of Russian Doll heading this. We got Lee Jung-jae, who is confirmed to be a Jedi Master in this. She goes on to explain her pitch when she approached Kathleen Kennedy about this. She's like, when she pitched this to Kathleen Kennedy, she described it as Frozen meets Kill Bill. And she goes on to say, shockingly, she didn't kick me out of the building. This is when the bad guys are outnumbered. They are the underdogs. I'm really excited for you guys to see things you haven't seen in live action yet. Slated for a 2024 release. According to Variety, the series will explore the emergence of the Sith. Rounding out the cast are Manny Jacinto, Daphne Keane of Logan, who also is confirmed to be a Jedi in this, or at least wielding a lightsaber. I don't know if she was specifically a Jedi. Rebecca Henderson, Carrie Ann Moss, confirmed to be a Jedi. Dean Charles Chapman, Charlie Bartnett, Margarita Lavinia, and I'm going to butcher this name, Jonas Suotamo, who I believe is the actor who has recently been playing Chewbacca. Yes, okay. I thought that was right, but I just wanted to make sure. He will be, yet again, playing another Wookiee, this time a Jedi Master Wookiee. I know that the name was released for this Wookiee, but it's not in this article. I forget what it is, but you guys will fill me in on the comments on that a little bit. I'm not diving into every teeny little hidden detail. Outlets report that the footage includes a fight between Cyborg and Moss that recalls the latter's Matrix moves, and among other things, a Jedi temple and a group of Jedis lighting up their lightsabers in unison. While the footage hasn't been released publicly, the cast also went on to tease the new series above. And just particular for this show, I'm really excited to see the perspective of a dark side user as a primary protagonist, in a way, of the show that we're watching, with the Jedi as the opposite of what we've seen them as they described. The characters we're following, these Sith, these Acolytes, are the underdog. So I'm wondering how they can frame this in a way, if they can, to make us sympathize with the ones that we're following. And we know some players are still around during this time. Yoda is active in the Jedi Council as well at this time. We know that the bubbling's up, and who knows, we could get Plagueis, we could get a younger Palpatine. We don't know. There's a whole lot of things that this could really kind of explore and dabble in, especially exploring the dark side of the Force as our primary focal component. I don't know. This one feels like the most different from what we've seen so far, while being very close to the era that we've really gotten to know so well. So there's a lot of potential here, I think. Following that, we got an update regarding Andor Season 2. It will be coming in August of next year. I'm really excited for that, because right now Andor is phenomenal. I think it's one of the best made Star Wars properties that is released in Disney's hands. I love The Mandalorian, and I enjoy The Mandalorian thoroughly. Even Season 3, which a lot of people are really divided on right now, I'm having a blast with it, and I'm enjoying the ride. But Andor is a wholly different beast. It took Star Wars into a place that I'm just really surprised that this got greenlit, and that they were able to do some of the stuff that they've done. It's very thoughtful. It's very methodical in what the story that is trying to tell about the rise of the rebellion, and some of the nastier sides of what is happening behind the scenes to just make this fight even happen. What the things that the Empire are doing. It's just a really grounded, really gritty Star Wars show, and it's brilliant. It's the most mature thing that has ever come out of Star Wars, at least in visual medium. I did almost forget, they did also include a teaser for next week's episode of The Mandalorian, also confirming that Rick Famuyiwa will be directing both episodes, and the teaser, it's a juicy one. But we're not going to be talking about it, because again, I didn't want to dive into anything that wasn't released or shown. We'll be covering it next week anyway, but I'm excited. I'm excited to get around to that with you guys. But that is pretty much a gist of everything that has been announced today, and I would love to know your guys' thoughts, your feelings on each one of these announcements. Which one are you the most excited for? Are there any that you're just like, nah? And just your general thoughts, speculations, feelings, and How do you feel about some of the projects that they didn't announce at all or talk about, expand upon at all? Do you think those are still happening, like Taika's film, like Rogue Squadron, like Rian Johnson's trilogy? I'd love to know your guys' opinions, so sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you like this, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already, because we're definitely going to be covering all these shows when they come out. And with that said, check out my reactions to The Mandalorian. Check out my reactions to the trailers that dropped today. Check out my reactions to The Bad Batch, Seasons 1 and 2. But with that all said, before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Manny Sherritt, Ryan Karen, Jason Coleman, Philly Vane, Yorick Corey Scott, Margaret Grace, Melita, Robert Aguiano, Raven McGann, Jeffrey Hale, M. Sephiroth, Jake Cantrell, and Josh Lee. Thank you guys so much for your continued support and everybody who's been helping support the channel along the way. Love you guys. But that's it for this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, may the Force be with you, always. Take care, everybody.